Before we start, I'd like to make to just put some notes out regarding our workshops and meetings from now on. When a public person is announced, please raise your hand, and we'll try to get a microphone to you. Either way, please stand when you're called upon, state your name and your address, and then tell us your comment or question or whatever you want to tell us, or statement, make a statement. Please keep it under 2 minutes. After all public portion is closed, the questions are going to be answered and the statements are going to be addressed. But we're doing that so we can avoid the back and forth conversation because that's not productive at all, and there are some people who never get to give their ideas. Now, during the workshop, all questions, comments, and concerns should be about an issue that is on today's agenda, on the agenda of the day, on the actual meeting. Actually, you can talk about anything and everything you like. I hope that's clear enough. Okay? And so let's start. We're reviewing resolutions. We have a request from SUNY Fredonia Radio Systems for permission to hold annual Rocking the Commons on September the 23rd, 2017. For the abstract number 489 approval. We have the recommendation to award bids for fuel and water meters. Then we have the enactment of local law. Hello. Number 2 of 2017 about the water rates. And I'd just like to ask if anybody has any comments from the trustees. Okay, and then we have the enactment of local law number 3. I apologize, of 2017 about the sewer rates. Recommendation of Betsy Sly to award bid for liquid chlorine.
And just to let you know, all these recommendations, this is our normal start of the new fiscal year, where we went out to bid for all of these things, and now these are the recommendations coming back.
Recommendation of Betsy Sly to award bid for ferric chloride. Recommendation of Betsy Sly to award bid for synthetic fluxulant. Recommendation of Chris Surma to award bid for polyaluminum chloride. Recommendation of Chris Surma to award bid for polyorthophosphate. Recommendation of Chris Surma to award bid for polycationic polymer. Recommendation of Chris Surma to award bid for powered blend of inorganic phosphates. Training request for Steve Manos to attend New York State Code Enforcement Basic Training Program, June the 13th to 15th, June 27th to June 29th, and July 11 to 13 for $408. And then training request for Police Chief to attend New York State Association of Chiefs of Police Training Conference. Right. Then we have the Police Department report for April 2017. We have the Fire Department report for April 2017. We have the Justice report for April 2017. Have a bid tabulation for chemicals, fuel, and water meters.
Those are all the stuff up above.
NICOM member dues for 2017-18. Mayor's reappointments and appointments to the Cable Board. And Newsom and Clark fire hall proposal. We have
finally got one that we can look at after 3 iterations of this thing. Just to let you know, because it's a professional service, you can go ahead and accept their proposal. It's $25,500 for all of the job, all the way from reevaluating the fire hall, all the way down into bid specs to basically being the clerk of the works and closing out the job and everything else. Or if you want to go to other engineering firms, you can tell me that that's what you want to do, and I'll get a couple more in here to take a look at the same project. It's obviously up to the board. But because it's a professional service, and I put it in your packet so you can read it, you know, and we can do this next meeting. But if you, like I said, if you decide you want to accept this, we'll just move forward on this, or we can go and grab a couple more engineering firms to take a look at it and see what they want. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is because it's a larger amount of money. It's, you know, almost $26,000. So.
It's something that we have to move on.
It's something that we need to
as
do,
soon as
absolutely.
possible.
That's the one thing. If we wait for another study, could be a
Another couple of
lot more
months.
time, yeah, and then we're not fixing it before winter.
Well, they're going to redo the study anyway, Nuss Palmer.
Right.
Okay. I mean, everybody'd be starting at the same place. They're looking at the building and reevaluating the building. So, like I said, totally up to the board.
Okay, so if we are okay with that, let's go to old business and talk about Main Street, the grant, technical assistance. We can give that to everybody.
One more or no?
I talked about the Main Street grant last time. Do you have enough? And this is only the technical assistance to the grant. As I mentioned, we don't have a specific date to go by, but as soon as the money, the state has a specific amount of money. As soon as this money is finished, then we don't have the opportunity anymore. What it is the state is going to give $20,000 with $1,000 from the village. For this $21,000, we can hire a company, we can hire an agency, and what are they going to do? Some examples are, as I'm giving you, downtown building inventories, design guidelines, architectural assessment, economic revitalization and marketing strategies, facade studies, building-specific renovation plans, redevelopment and reuse strategies. The reason we are not more specific about what we're going to do with this money is because we don't know. After we have the money, we hire this agency, bless you. And in cooperation with business owners, with the community, and with the board, we can decide exactly what we want and how we want to proceed. And something else that I want to mention, we talked about our comprehensive plan. This needs to be updated. And it needs to be updated as soon as possible. And from that point on, we need to have it, you know, in front of us every time to see where we are, what we're doing, what is the next project, and all that. So I just want to draw your attention to that. So that's that. Okay. All right, let's go now to the fun part. A couple of weeks ago, I asked you to please come forward with your plans for downtown economic development for the village. And so I'm hoping that today you'll be able to, each one of you present something so we can start, we have a starting point, let's say. Yes? Who wants to start? Mr. Linden, yes.
We'll all have something to contribute here, and I think it's a great opportunity to bring our ideas forward. And I'm sure each one of us will be individually different with our own thoughts. But I started with looking by at as the governing body, what do we have to do to for economic growth and development as opposed to an individual or business owner outside of the governing body. So that's how I addressed it, in my opinion. So I'm going to start by reading through. I have a number of points through here. Some are statements and some are actual points, but it all kind of comes together. So cultivating an environment supportive to job creation with the goal of improved quality of life and standard of living in the village of Fredonia we must first view where we stand as a village government in order to develop an effective and efficient system. So number one, I started with they call it AIM funding, which is the aid and incentive to municipalities. It's shared annually. The formula contains a direct relation. The formula for the funding, the shared funding, contains a direct relation to property values that are only for villages, villages receiving the smallest portion of state funding comparatively to counties, cities, and towns. By making a formal request to the governor for increase would be reasonable. It may not be possible, but it would be reasonable in my opinion. Recently, per capita portion to the AIM funding was added, and a very small addition has been acknowledged. The county sales tax, the sharing agreement for the county sales tax contains a direct relation to property values only for villages. Once again, making a formal request for a more equitable share from the county through the legislators is advisable. The county bed tax, sharing needs to be requested on an annual basis from the county. We should look into that, or we could use that. The village property tax. By viewing property values in relation to revenues, would be to show that increased values can help to hold lower taxes. Due to the state and county shared funding formulas being tied to village property values, increased value provides more outstanding funding. And we got the CHIPS funding, which is your road funding. Your CHIPS funding, Pave New York, Extreme Winter Recovery, and other road funding. The formulas seem to be not tied to actually rational need for repair and maintenance. Villages receive the smallest share of available funding. We need to make a request to the state to increase funding for the reasons that roads in the cities are engineered the same as in the villages. The county road funding. The counties receive greater funding per mile from the state. A meaningful shared or merger of services by the county would be to take over paving of some of the streets, lessening the burden on local taxpayers. We need to make a formal request to the county executive and legislators. The state and county officials seem to share a great interest in policy for funding by way of competitive grants. Many are tied to shared, consolidated, or merged services. And it goes to C number 9, which is the next number here. I would like to establish a department for and director of planning and development. This is very important. This is needed to search, apply for, and to be the administrator of grants. A multitude of grants are available. This is a big job because most grants are competitive with limited timelines and require an enormous amount of paperwork to be filed. This department could be beneficial in many areas for faster paced growth. To drive commercialization, this department can assist entrepreneurs with finding local resources such as the Village Fund for Business Loans up to $50,000, or permitting and licensing. It can also steer innovation clusters that tend to attract new industries and young social entrepreneur networks. Working this system, the system given currently, as far as the values or how the values with the taxation goes. So working the system currently by applying for as many grants as possible, we can leverage great value from the limited local funds. This can contribute to lower local costs and taxes to property owners for higher quality services and improved infrastructure, and more aesthetically appealing community with abundant activities and attractions. Investing in improvements doesn't always raise taxes. It's back to number 5 again, as I explained earlier. Economic growth happens by building up assets already in place, and development happens because of that growth. The State University at Fredonia, one of the county's largest employers with higher wage earners, provides access for business to potential employees with a higher level of education. Recognizing what the university brings to the table and bolstering that in the community will begin growth for both. And essential services. Fire and rescue, police and safety do produce revenue and can bring additional. There is high importance to retain, enhance, and expand as needed these services. Keeping a central location that's highly visible is critical. New police facility. The area previously studied will provide additional new commercial development. The current study being done may also show benefits. The old police facility can provide opportunity for a community center and open public restrooms and additional revenue sources. The old courtrooms can provide opportunity to enhance the Opera House experience and additional village revenue sources. The state requests for land use at the wastewater treatment plant for a surveillance tower should include regular payments, same as would be for a cell tower. The wastewater treatment plant, the current study may show possible savings available through shared services. Request that the university make some contribution for the service provided by the fire department. Other universities in the state have been required to contribute. Clearly identifying location and type of properties for development, back to scene number 9. Establish, which would be the development department. Establish a medical campus near Route 60, I think would be a great idea. Encourage new single-family housing developments to entice and attract home buyers from all areas. Add elements of interest throughout the community, such as the roundabout monument that we've proposed. Adding benches down Main Street gives convenience and a welcoming feel. The east and west parking lots require more than maintenance. Upgrades should include grading, paving, curbing, islands, landscaping, trees, and plantings. Overhead power lines should be underground. Benches, solar car charging stations, permanent public restrooms at each lot. LED lighting, additional lighting, a kiosk at each lot for payment of parking at the lot use. All of this is essential to promoting new and good business and community activities. Continue with the street light conversion to the LED. This will save on electric costs. Enhance local and tourist information centers. Maybe include the Chamber of Commerce. The center must be have easy access and regular hours. invest in marketing of the village outside of the village to the world as a welcoming community and all it and the region has to offer. And then also come to and visit and stay. The community should put in place wayfinding signage. We should also have district design codes. Continue with the improvement to the corridor to the Lake Erie and the grants involved. Encourage the arts and festivals and events. These bring attention and attract people to increase commerce. We should then also consider collaborating with the Fredonia Central School to renovate and rebuild the football stadium on Main Street to better and more effective use all year long. And that is my
I think
complete.
you covered it all.
Yes, very good. That's excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm just going to say about the first one, the AIM funding. Unfortunately, this new budget, I think they already passed it, and the state has no increase in AIM funding. We are at the same level.
This
There's
year,
no
it's
increase.
$89,000. We, I believe we did receive I have it here, in the AIM funding, that $10,000 for the per capita.
Oh, no, it's about $95,000.
Right, well, that put us about, it was about
Yeah,
10,000,
about
puts us about 90, that puts us about
The past
98,000.
couple of years, we've gotten 101,
Right.
something like that, so it's a minimal amount of additional.
And for everybody to understand what AIM is to help the government, the governor, the state gives the municipalities. And traditionally, villages get the less money, cities get the most money. And the amount, the number of people has nothing to do with the money you get. For example, the village of Fredonia gets $98,000. We were lucky enough the last 2 years to get 102. In comparison, the city of Dunkirk, who is about 1,000 people more, gets about $1,600,000 a year. So that's the difference. And yes, that was my, that's the difference. So that's what I wanted to say about that.
Per capita aid, we received $10,803.
Okay.
But the, like you said, the AIM funding did not increase this year.
Did not, yes.
Did not.
Although, yes, repeatedly.
The
So
sales
that's
tax,
increased.
I mean, is, once again, the sales tax, it's broken down so that the villages receive the smallest portion.
Sales tax is the same.
It's the
yes.
same with all,
It's
actually,
not the village, it's according to the value of the.
values, the value of the
Yes,
profits.
the property
But
values.
because, as I stated, basically every area of funding is for the village. The formulas are attached to your property values. So my intent here is to have people to understand that by increasing your property value can actually bring more funding to the village. It also upgrades the village as a whole. So your property values, your values can increase and your taxes can either maintain or, I don't know if they could actually go down, but it'd be nice. But you're holding the line because you're receiving higher amount of funding for a better quality community. And other communities are funded differently, but that's how villages are. So, it would be important for people to understand that, upgrading their properties is helpful in keeping their property taxes lower, because as long as the village government can hold the line on the cost for the services, you actually get a better balance because your values go up. You end up with revenues coming in to hold those taxes from, even if costs go up, you have higher revenues coming in. So your taxes can stay lower. So that's very important for people to know that to do nothing is going to cause your taxes to increase.
Yes, because the
inflation,
property value goes down.
Property values go down, inflation goes up, then so the cost of per property will actually increase, giving you a worse value, an improper value as far as tax valuation, I should say, as far as tax to property. And that's the way I view it. So.
Very good. Thank you very much. That's excellent. And as I said, you covered pretty much everything. Karen? Karen?
No, I have nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have nothing. Okay. Doug?
Jim, you touched on just about everything and anything that you could have touched on. But I think we need to utilize, and all those ideas were great, to also utilize resources we currently have available. Our comprehensive plan, like you discussed, that needs to be updated. We need to review it and actually apply a lot of different concepts, because it goes over almost a lot of different things you were talking about there. So that's imperative that we get that updated. I don't even know if, does it have to be updated some more or just approved? There was some, I wasn't here when.
It needs to be updated.
Okay.
Because it was approved, it was from 2011, and that's a living document. It needs to be
Yeah.
updated, and then
So that
keep
should
up with
be
it.
the first priority, and this document, from what I've looked at so far, outlines almost many of the things you've discussed and so forth. Looking over, the other resources are like Nate Aldridge, who's from the LED right now, who's economic development specialist with the county. Utilize his resources and to actually pick through, he could help us pick through all the CFA resources, all the grants that are available, so forth and so on.
But how are you going to do that? How are you going to utilize the LED? Because I'm all for it. It just don't know how.
I think Nate might be able to answer that a little bit more. I mean, we could invite him to make some presentations and on maybe a quarterly basis to update us on grant possibilities, different funding available for different things out there. Because I know I'm not knowledgeable on that at all, and I think to utilize resources we have would be super, and he's available, I think, at no cost, so that's a kind of an added plus too. I have a lot of small things, but nothing of any.
No, the small things are what we can do, actually, and small things can add up to be a big idea at the end. And on what you said, this morning I had people from Stockwell Opportunities came to my office, and actually they have a good packages for either first-time business people or somebody who wants to upgrade their businesses. So they have loans for businesses as well, and that's something else that has to be. But this is has to be for the people to know that this is available. From our part, that's my question. From our part, what we can do to actually make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel the same way. The small ideas, a lot of small ideas add up to large outcomes. So anything and everything that's possible could be done. I had thought about a business blitz, promoting local businesses, advertising them, and holding special occasions to go there and patronize their businesses. Holding sports tournaments, different cities, Salamanca, Jamestown, they host Gus Macker tournaments, stuff like that. Kind of draws to draw. I mean, they're not draws all year, but they're small things that could bring things in. One of the things that we kind of talked about at one of the Central Connections meetings was a cell phone notification when you come into our area. Like in Canada, when you cross the border there, your cell phone tells you that you're going to be occurring higher charges. If you come into the village of Fredonia, it pops up a site or whatever you call
Like an app.
an app,
A Fredonia app.
and it can advertise all the different events going on, businesses, so forth and so on. For local residents that if you go outside the village limits and come back in, you could probably opt out of that, so your phone, but that kind of thing. an event to involve the local businesses, like a brew and Barker Common, host a beer tasting or wine tasting in the Commons, and do something like that. Advertise our events daily, either on our Facebook page or our web page. I know sometimes, like our web page really isn't too up to date or anything, and I don't know if hiring somebody to administer those would pay off.
Yeah, we've
Tenfold if-
explored updating, upgrading, making just a different, more user-friendly
Or maybe an
website.
app or something too, I
But
don't know.
As far as putting things on the webpage, I mean, Tom does it regularly, and he's pretty good at doing it.
And I didn't mean to.
No,
It's
of course.
okay, I mean, I agree.
And maybe like, not that this would be economic development, but contact information. I know, like our emails or our phone numbers here aren't all on there. I don't know if it's updated, to be honest with you, if the new members are on there or not, but for people to contact us with concerns and so forth. Offer incentives for any new businesses. That's kind of open-ended. I don't know, whatever reasonably we could do to help them out in their business.
That's the point.
Yes, I know,
What is it?
exactly. And this, if I knew all the answers, I probably wouldn't be sitting here
Well,
right
that's
now.
the
I'd
thing,
be economic. But we could come up with some reasonable expectations that we could help businesses out. I'm not sure whether, like the sandwich boards, I know there's regulations and all that too. I don't know how to, but to help their business thrive, I believe. Kids hockey tournaments, festivals, music festivals, alumni get-togethers and so forth. We have the college here, and I know they have hockey tournaments and stuff like that. I don't know if we could be involved with the college in that aspect to co-host or something like that, because these events bring in people from out of town, and they would fill our restaurants, fill our hotels. Yes. Pickleball, that's a new thing that's occurring here,
Well, we're
to
doing
encourage new little developments like that. I know it might not be a major event, but if it brings in people to having a pickleball tournament, that's
So
enough.
the first court was actually painted today. There's one, there will be a total of 8 installed, 4 in the tennis and 4 in the basketball area. The first one was painted today.
And I know these seem like super little baby steps, but maybe, I don't know if that's the first step into trying new things here. I think that's pretty much everything, pretty much Jim covered. But I think if we work together as a team here, and not only on a local village level, I think in a community and regional level, I think there's lots of different options that can be had out there, and it's just a collaborative effort, and that's what I hope to also be part of.
Thank you, very nice. Phyllis?
I think the gentleman did a wonderful job. One of the comments that I just would have, I agree with you. I think the update of the comprehensive plan is just vital. I've seen it, we've worked on it, and it's gone back and forth to the planning. Maybe the planning board in this board needs to collaborate a little bit better, because that was the one thing, it did go, and then they decided they wanted more maps involved, and there was a time when that request had come in. That was right at the time that Con Ed went out, and so it just kind of, there was no money, and we just kind of left it, and then it went on a shelf downstairs, and then now we're back in the point again when this got brought up with the sidewalks and everything. So I just think if we work a little bit better with that, maybe we can really get it off the ground this time and get it complete. I agree, we need to do this.
You're correct, I agree. I didn't mention that, and I'm glad you brought it up. And it's, for acquiring grants, it's very important that the information is in there. When industry is looking into our area, we have in the comprehensive plans site-ready, we have identified site-ready locations for construction of new buildings, or new business. If it's already in there, it makes it possible. It speeds the process up faster in order to encourage the new business to come and develop here.
Yeah, well, and the question is always, of course, like the chicken and the egg.
Right.
We bring new businesses. New businesses are not going to come if they don't have customers to go to these new businesses. And the idea, some people say, well, the customers may be there, but if the new businesses are not here. Well, I tend to believe that you provide for the businesses the best environment that you can. For example, maybe we can make the acquiring of license a little easier instead of, I don't know how difficult it is, but but maybe we can make that a little easier. But at the same time, I think my point of view always is, how do we see this village? Because I want to make this village a place that people want to move to. Not only go and visit, that's good too. We get those, we want those people too.
Mm-hmm.
But we need young families, we need young professionals, we need young artists. We need to make Fredonia the place that it was supposed to be. And I kept thinking, what is that defines this village? And I think there's two things. First of all, is the university. It's the culture that it brings. It's the art that the university brings. All this high level. And at the same time, I don't want to forget that this is a agricultural community. This is a farming community at its base. That's how it started. So if I think that this can work very well together, we should bring the university to the village. We should make our people aware of what we have, and at the same time trying to help the farmers, right? To help the wineries, right? To help the local restaurants, and all that. It's well recognized that young people tend to go to places that are open, clean, green, with something, with good schools, safety, and some activities to do. And the same thing goes for tourists. When you go someplace, what you remember is what did you see, what you saw, what you did, and the people you met. So these are the three things that they should come together. This was excellent. Thank you very much. We should start to put some things together. And today I had a very good meeting, I have to tell you, for a new business to open up downtown on Main Street. Very, very exciting. I will give you information, and we can discuss it at the next meeting, probably, or maybe. But it's something that it's extremely positive and very, very good. So now let's open the public portion. We don't have public portion. I'm going to open the public portion and ask if anybody has questions, comments, concerns, or anything. Nobody talks, so the public portion is, yes, please. Take the microphone, please. State your name and address.
Hello, my name is Travis Mosher. I don't live in Fredonia, but I do work in Fredonia, and one of the issues that we have found is the accessibility. The sidewalks in particular, the ability to get a wheelchair into a lot of these buildings. I do know one of the places we like to go frequently, Power 9, recently moved to a place that was more accessible. However, the building they're in is still not accessible for us. We would just like to bring that up to the attention. And
Just the fact that a lot of the buildings that it's Christie, I live at 125 Cushing, And a lot of the buildings that people say, oh, we're grandfathered in, we don't have to worry about, you know, the ADA regs, and, you know, you have a lot of differently abled people in the community. And we just want to feel like we're part of the community, because Aspire's got a building downtown Fredonia, you know. We need to feel like we're part of the community. And a lot of times with a lot of the buildings that we can't get into, we feel like, okay, like there's a lot of places we can't go because there's steps or just not able to get into. So when you're talking about these new developments, please don't leave the differently able population out. You have to worry about not just people in wheelchairs, but you've got visually impaired people that have dogs, you know. There's quite a few of them around. You've got people that use scooters around town, you know.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
My name is Joshua Petro. I also live at 125 Cushing Street. Cushing Street has been open since 2010, and I have found that the sidewalks down Cushing Street have gotten a lot worse than what they were. So I would just like to say maybe we could. I'm the founder of an advocacy group named Dreams.
Okay.
Maybe Fredonia and Dreams could get together and figure out some way to raise the money to fix these sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so we close. Yes, please, Mr. Sir.
My name is Ted Sharon. I'm a professor at the university as well as a business owner here in town. My two new employees, newly graduated from the university, are here, and we just really appreciate what you've been talking about as far as the economic development goes. Just really appreciate the points that you've made and are 100% behind that and look forward to being a part of what you're doing. So thank you for considering those things as well as the other things that have been brought up. I know those are on your minds as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll close public portion. And what time is it? It's not working.
No.
Seven thirty.
We need to get the janitor to put batteries in.
Do you have time to go to executive?
It's not going to.
Okay, let's go to executive.
We're going in? Okay. I hereby make a motion to enter into executive session as authorized by Section 105(1)(f) of the Public Officers Law to discuss possible hiring and promotion of particular persons pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law.
I second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Essek?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to do, I'll explain later. We're going to do a roll call first. Trustee Ruckman is absent. Trustee Christina?
Present.
Trustee Linden?
Present.
Trustee Jones?
Present.
Trustee Essek?
Present.
Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia, duly called and held on the 22nd day of May 2017 at 7:30 in the Trustees' Room, 2nd floor, Village Hall, Fredonia, New York, and public notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given to the news media and conspicuously posted in one or more designated public locations in accordance with Section 104 of the Open Meeting Law.
Whereas members of this board present at this meeting have read the official minutes of the Board of Trustees special meeting of May 3rd, 2017, and regular meeting of May 8th, 2017. Now therefore be it resolved, this board approves the minutes as entered into the official minutes. And be it further resolved that the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
I second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esser?
Yes.
We have 3 reports tonight. We have the police report for the month of April 2017. 834 incidents reported with 22 accidents, 149 arrests reported, 33 vehicle and traffic, and 46 parking tickets. The second report is the fire department report for the month of April. There were a total of 148 calls, of which 120 were rescue and EMS, 18 false alarms and false calls, 7 good intents, 1 each of fire, hazardous conditions, and service calls. And the final report of the night is the justice report for the month of April. There were a total cases of 165 heard. Total fines and surcharges of $16,243. Parking tickets of $3,215 for a total of $19,458. 87 vehicle and traffic cases, 43 criminal, 29 village ordinances, 1 civil, and 5 ABC laws. And that's it for reports.
Correspondence was received from Noah Makizewski, General Manager, Fredonia Radio Systems, requesting permission to use Barkey Common and the gazebo on Saturday, September the 23rd, 2017, from 9 a.m. with set up at 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the annual Rockin' the Commons charity event to benefit Roswell Park Cancer Institute of Buffalo.
Be it resolved that permission is hereby granted to Noah Makajewski, General Manager, Fredonia Radio System, to use Barker Common in the gazebo for the annual Rockin' the Commons charity event to benefit Roswell Park Cancer Institute of Buffalo on Saturday, September 23rd, 2017, from 9 a.m. Set up is at 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and that Church Street between Temple Street and Park Place to be closed for performance and Shabetta's Chicken Barbecue. And be it further resolved that the above use of the gazebo is subject to the direction of the Fredonia Police Department, and be it further resolved that this resolution is subject to the receipt of a certification of insurance naming the Village of Fredonia as an additional insured in the amount of $1 million.
I second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esser?
Yes.
A letter dated May the 22nd, 2017 was received from Mayor Athanasia Landis recommending the reappointment of Michelle Twitchell and Marcia Marins and the appointment of David Friedman and Alexander Wolozinski to the Fredonia Cable Television Advisory Board for 2-year terms.
Be it resolved that Marcia Marins, 42 Roslyn Court, Fredonia, and Michelle Twitchell, 142 Temple Street, Fredonia, are hereby reappointed to the Fredonia Cable Television Advisory Board, and David Friedman, 131 Chestnut Street, Fredonia, and Alexander Wolozinski are hereby appointed to the Fredonia Cable Television Advisory Board to serve 2-year terms effective immediately.
I second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esser?
Yes.
This being the time and place for the public hearing of proposed local law number 2 of 2017 entitled A Local Law Amending Section 287-8A of the Code of the Village of Fredonia to provide for an increased water rate per 1,000 gallons from 1,000 to 100,000, from $3.65 to $4.80 per 1,000 gallons. Proof of publication shown. I call the hearing to order. Anybody? Mr. Luce,
John,
can you please stand up and get the microphone?
Paul Luce, 26 James Place, Fredonia. What is this increase for? What's it going to be used for? Is it going to be used for the reservoir?
I'll answer all because,
And I wonder if any of that's going to go to providing clean water for the residents.
okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Todd Profit, 24 James Place. Again, I also want to, I just want to express my extreme displeasure that we're here asking for another water increase when we know there are issues with this current, with our current water system. My wife and I were looking and found an article from last year in which we were asking, you were also asking for an increase. And part of that effort was supposed to go towards fixing these issues. And here we are a year later, and the best we've done, it seems like, is a survey. So we'd really like to see this fixed.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, because this is the public hearing only for the rate, I will answer all these questions at the public portion if you allow me. I'll have all these questions answered, and I will address your, whatever you said, everything at the public portion. Is that all right?
Yes.
Yes? Thank you. Yes, I will address it. I mean, 5 minutes down there. Okay. No, it's closed.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I address it now then?
We're going to open the second meeting on this one.
Okay, yes, of course. This being the time and place for the public hearing on proposed local law number 3 of 2017, entitled A Local Law Amending Section 237-15D of the Code of the Village of Fredonia relative to sewer rentals, increasing the consumption rate to $6.17 per 8,000 gallons of water supply. Proof of publication shown. I call this hearing to order. Okay. And now I can address everything. Okay, we close the public hearing. And I want to address your questions. Let me go a little bit back. Last year when I started, very soon, I think it was something like February or March, somebody from Carroll Avenue came and brought me a petition that was drawn years ago and brought to the village board. And he said that they have still the same problem. The problem was colored water. They had something between yellow and brown, and he showed me the water, and I thought it was really bad. Very soon after, Mr. Lewis came, and he said the same thing, that James Place have the same problem as that. And he brought me a bottle of water, and you know I have that bottle. I thought it was really bad. First of all, I really thank you for being here. That's very helpful. I thought it was very bad, and I promised that I was going to do something, that we are going to do something. I don't want to go back and check why it was not done. I know they flushed it. I know they were doing some sub-measures. The point is, the problem was not fixed. I understand that. So what we did was we, in May, early May, we conducted a company, O'Brien and Gear, to give us an estimate, because before we start fixing, we have to know what's going on, why the water is red, is yellow. They gave us a proposal sometime in August. We passed the resolution, and because the time in between is between them giving us a contract, us going to the lawyer, going back to them. Unfortunately, nothing in government works really fast. So I can tell you is sometimes is disconcerting. But the thing is, at the end of the day, we passed the resolution, and they started a study of the whole system called water system evaluation. Now, we got this is the first part of this study, because they recommended we start from the reservoir. We check the water to see if there is a problem up there, and then come down here, so we can address the right area. We just got this report. This report, we got it in March. We went through it. There are some recommendations. And they recommend that we go down and check specific streets after we do the annual flushing. We do one annual flushing, so we clean all the pipes and all the hydrants and all that. This is going to happen in the next week or so.
Yeah.
This is going to happen the next week. The reason is we wait for the students to move out, so it's easier, so it's less used, so it's all that. And right after that, we're going to take the samples.
Well, we have to wait 2 weeks.
Yes, we have to wait 2 weeks until the system recalibrates itself, and then we're going to take the samples. I know it takes a long time, believe me. I don't like to do this kind of space. I would like to say, see, we fixed it. This is what I would like to say, but I can't. However, I just want to assure you that this is a priority. It's not in the on the back burner. It's a priority for us. I mean, when we talk for economic development, how can I promote the village when, part of the village have colored water? At the same time, there are some other problems. For example, not the whole James Place have problem. I don't know why. They don't know why. They have to start checking, because some of the houses, they don't have any. Somebody came and brought me the letter that you left them, and they said, I'm bringing you this. I have no problem with the water. That's from James Place. Some people on Carroll Avenue, they don't have a problem. So before we spend millions of dollars in changing all the pipes and all the things that maybe my mind, in my mind is wrong, we have to find out what's the problem. We haven't forgotten. I promise you that this is going to happen. I just don't know how to make it faster. Unfortunately, I don't perform miracles. I'm coming from a medical background. I can assure you, I don't perform miracles. But we have it in our mind. We have it. The engineers are doing it. They know they're supposed to do it. They're doing it. We paid for the study. As for the money you paid last year, well, there was another problem. I can explain that. We paid $150,000 earlier this year to study the reservoir and the dam that we need to fix. That was $150,000. The increase that I put last year didn't even pay for that. Unfortunately, everything in infrastructure, everything in water, everything in sewer systems are very expensive. I'm increasing the sewer too. I don't want to do that. However, we have needs at the wastewater treatment plant. At the same time, we are applying for grants, because even with this raise, we won't be able to cover everything. So we are applying for grants. Funny thing is, if we don't do our due diligence, they won't give us the grant. We can't go there and say, I have zero money. I'm not going to pay for anything, but you come and pay for us. They won't do it. Best case scenario, they will give us 50%. That's the best case scenario that we can have, which is not bad. It's really good. But that means that we have to pay the rest 50%. So this is what I had to say. I don't know if any of the trustees want to say anything else. I hope I covered everything.
This has become a health issue. I don't see how the state can say.
The state knows about it. I talked to the state.
So
That's why, yes, and they assure me that they're going to help us. That's why we are. Believe me, it's not in the back someplace. Everybody who comes to my office, every time that I go to meet Kathy Young, every time that I go to meet the other day, Lori Cornell from the governor's office was in my office. She saw that too. It's a big, big problem.
Well, the problem is, it's so bad that in order to even fill a bathtub for my granddaughter, for her to take a bath, I've got to let the water run and run. So all I'm doing is driving up my water bill for this. I would just assume you shut my water off at the street, because most of it's going down a drain waiting to clear it up. And I don't want it
And
anymore. I do not want your water.
We can certainly do that if you want to set the water.
Pardon?
If you want to set the water, we can certainly do that, but
Let's do
it's
that.
nothing I can do to clean it up right now. And,
I can't pay your rates for water. I've got to go down the drain until I can get just a little bit that I can use. So please, shut my water off. Really. I'll take care of myself because nobody else is.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. There's nothing else that I can do. I wish we could do it faster, but believe it or not, this is fast. This is us running behind them.
You're breaking me in the meantime, so I just don't want your water. Okay? Tomorrow morning is fine.
Okay. Anybody wants to say anything?
I don't mind saying that, but it's really unusual that some residents on the same street, on the same main line, don't have issues, and some have horrible issues. And that's the purpose of this. It would make more sense if everyone did, because then you could kind of understand why it's happening. I mean,
Could it be that portion of the pipe is rusted, the other is...
Well, that's why the study, that's why the study is needed. I mean, there's just, and as the mayor did describe, that is so important, because if you're going to spend millions of dollars for a full line you didn't need to replace, you're putting a burden on everyone else that you didn't need to.
Right. Well, they can put a plastic sleeve in. That's done in other places. And that's a fraction of what it costs to replace.
Well, they still have to find,
We have to find out first what is going on, and I
It's like-
say,
I have no problem with an increase to the water rate if I can use the water.
right.
Other people, they're paying the same as me. They can use their water. They don't have to run to the store a couple times a week to buy bottled water. I do. How can you, really and truly, how can you expect me to pay what everyone else is paying when I can't use that water?
Mr. Lewis, it's not a fair question to me, because I was
It's not a fair bill for me.
I was not here in 2008 when this problem first came to the village board. I came last year. I'm doing my best. We are doing our best. And I
Come up
really
with
wish
something in the
I could
meantime.
do something else.
Why should I pay the same rate if I can't use it?
Because
Is
if we
that
don't,
being
again,
unreasonable?
if we don't collect the money, we go back to the same thing. We don't collect the money, we can't fix the problem becomes bigger. It's a huge issue.
I don't
I'm
think my
hoping that
water
by
bill's
the end of
gonna
the year, we will somehow resolve that.
Can I say something? There's probably 6 houses of ours. We're all on the east end of James Place. Okay, I think there's only 2 people here from the lower end of James. My water's bad. I live at 19 James Place. My name is Robert Fidel. I've got bad water. I gotta replace my filter every month. It's supposed to take every 6 months. It's cost me $500-600 a year for filters. And then I'm not sure if I should drink it.
I understand, and all of this is going to be resolved. That's the best I can say right now. I have this is the evaluation we have up to now. We're going to the next step.
I just wanted to say that we're all on the one end of the street. Okay, we're on the east end.
So maybe it's going to be
So maybe
easier for
there's
us to
something down
find
as
it.
far as halfway, whatever. So,
I'm on 11 down the street. It's on and off. So it's not
I don't.
completely clear all the time.
Okay, well, we can ask Perry to just flush the area. Yeah,
If
we
you
will
want to
ask.
call either Village Hall or, I mean, is it a constant, or does it clear after we flush, or it doesn't clear, or?
it's hard to say, it all runs through the filter now.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So I really can't tell whether it's clear. It's clear when it comes out of my faucet. I don't know if there's anything left in it. I can bring you a filter and I'll show you how black it is.
Well, we've seen
There
it.
you go.
The sand filters, yes.
I can confirm it. When they do flush, I mean, my filters do last slightly longer.
Okay, so we can ask Perry to flush the area.
But the thing is, last time we were here,
We got a flush, and then we really haven't seen much since then. So if we know flushing helps, then it seems like that there should be at least some sort of.
But now
that's
you will
something we
see
could do.
something else too. I promise. This is I think it's the first time I say it. I promise you'll see something else. Because as soon as and you had a copy of our application, so you know that we did that. So as soon as we have the next step completed, I will put it out there. Greg is here every week. And please come back. I'm glad you're here. I really am. Please come back. But you will find out when we have the results back.
Maybe we need to put on a flushing schedule
Yeah.
until it's resolved.
Yeah, and I think we might look at a auto flusher on that line,
Yep.
Yeah.
so that it's flushed on
Regular
every other
basis.
day. Or
Right.
something.
Right. If it'll help in the meantime, anything that would help.
But if we flush it every day, I'm going to be able to take the samples.
Well, yeah, we would have to shut it off during that 2-week stint that they're saying that you don't rile the water up. So we would have to shut it off.
So just
during
as
that
you
2
know
weeks.
that.
Well, it's going to take a while to get something like that installed. too.
Right, okay. For 2 weeks, it has to be, we have to leave it the way it is. After we flush, we're going to flush it once, but then we have to leave it for 2 weeks so they can go and get the actual sample. Because if they get the sample after the 2 weeks, after we flush it, it's going to be clear, obviously. So we have to wait for 2 weeks for their recommendation to do it.
When do you expect the results of the survey and evaluations that are being performed?
We don't know that.
That's a difficult question.
We don't know that. They don't give us a timeline. They work through their study methodically and then go down. That's why they wanted to start at the reservoir and follow the water back down into the village. It's a method that they follow. We don't know the exact time frame.
Do you have to have the results in before you can apply for the state aid in the end of this year?
They know we have to apply for the state aid, so I'm hoping they will have it by then.
Yeah, because you have to
Yes.
have a plan in place that says this is what we need to do before you can apply for a grant. You can't apply for a grant and say, well, we think it might be this, or it might be that, or it might be something else.
Actually, you have to
So
have
you have to have a
the
plan in
project
place.
ready. Yeah.
So, before you apply.
Okay. Have the resolutions? The correspondent person? Yeah.
All right, you ready to move on?
Please.
Okay. Be it resolved that the regular and overtime payrolls of the various village departments and bills approved by the Finance Committee and set forth in abstract for number 489 is hereby approved and directed paid.
I second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones? Aye. Trustee Esek?
Yes.
Whereas bids for water meters for the Department of Public Works were publicly opened and read on May 16, 2017. Now therefore be it resolved after review of bids, Tie Sales Inc., 36 Hudson Road, Sudbury, Massachusetts, is hereby awarded the bid for water meters for the village fiscal years commencing June 1st, 2017 and ending May 31st, 2018, as per attached bid forms, a copy of which is attached to and made part of these minutes.
Second?
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esek?
Yes.
Whereas bids for liquefied gas chlorine for the wastewater treatment plant and water filtration plants were publicly opened and read on May 16, 2017, and whereas Betsy Sly, Chief Operator of the wastewater treatment plant, has reviewed the bids and has recommended awarding the bids to Jones Chemical, 100 Sunny Soul Boulevard, Caledonia, New York. Now therefore be it resolved that Jones Chemicals, JCI, is hereby awarded the bid for liquefied gas chlorine for the village fiscal years commencing June 1st, 2017 and ending May 31st, 2018 at $75 for a 150-pound cylinder with no container deposit and no fuel charge for the water filtration plant and $700 per ton cylinder with no container deposit and no gas charge for the wastewater treatment plant.
Second?
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Essek.
Yes.
Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia desires to increase the water rate for metered water service within the Village of Fredonia, and whereas a public hearing has been duly called and held before this Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia on the 22nd day of May 2017 to consider the question of the enactment of proposed local law number 2 of 2017 of the Village of Fredonia, entitled a local law amending section 287-8A of the Code of the Village of Fredonia to provide for an increased water rate for 1,000 gallons from 1,000 to 100,000, from $3.65 to $4.80 per 1,000 gallons. And whereas proof of publication in the Observer of the notice of public hearing on said proposed local law has been presented to this board, and whereas proposed local law number 2 of 2017 for the Village of Fredonia in its final form has been laid upon the desks of the members of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia at least 7 calendar days prior to this date, and whereas after due deliberation, this board seeks to enact said proposed local law, now therefore it be enacted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia as follows. Section 1, this local law shall be entitled a local law amending section 287-8A of the Code of the Village of Fredonia to provide for an increased water rate per 1,000 gallons from 1,000 to 100,000, from $3.65 to $4.80 per 1,000 gallons. Section 2, Section 287-8A of the Code of the Village of Fredonia, last amended on May 23, 2016, by Local Law Number 1 of 2016, is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 287-8A, rates for metered water service within the Village of Fredonia. A, for water supplied by the Village of Fredonia from and after June 1st, 2016, and for each quarterly period thereafter, the following rates are hereby fixed and shall be collected on all water metered service within the Village of Fredonia, a minimum charge of $25 plus from 1,000 gallons to 100,000 gallons at the rate of $4.80 per 1,000 gallons consumption, plus over 100,000 gallons at a rate of $4.75 per 1,000 gallons consumption. Note, water rates to the Town of Pomfret and Town of Dunkirk water districts or other outside of village water customers shall be increased accordingly as provided by the contracts with the Village of Fredonia and such outside water customer. Section 3, this local law shall take effect upon filing with the Secretary of State of the State of New York. Now therefore be it resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to file this local law with the Secretary of State of the State of New York, and be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to cause notice of the enactment of this local law to be published in the Observer, and be it further resolved that said local law be renumbered Local Law Number 1 of 2017 of the Village of Fredonia.
Upon roll call vote, the following votes were cast to read. Trustee Rackman is absent. Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Essek.
Yes.
The local law was therefore declared duly adopted by 4-0 vote.
Whereas as bids for polyaluminum chloride for the water filtration plant were publicly opened and read on May 16, 2017, and whereas Chris Zuma, Chief Operator of the water filtration plant, has reviewed the bids and has recommended awarding the bids to Applied Specialties, Inc., 33555 Pin Oak Parkway, Avon Lake, Ohio. Now therefore be it resolved, Applied Specialties, Inc. is hereby awarded the bid for the polyaluminum chloride for the village fiscal year commencing June 1, 2017 and ending May 31st, 2018 at the bid of $163.50 per 55-gallon drums with no drum deposit.
Second.
Trustee Christina.
Yes.
Trustee Linden.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Essek.
Yes.
Whereas bids for polyorthophosphate for the water filtration plant were publicly opened and read on May 16, 2017, and whereas Chris Surma, Chief Operator of the water filtration plant, has reviewed the bids and has recommended awarding the bid to Slack Chemical Company Incorporated, 465 South Clinton Street, Carthage, New York. Now therefore be it resolved that Slack Chemical Company Incorporated is hereby awarded the bid for polyorthophosphate for the village fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017 and ending May 31st, 2018 at the bid of $338.58 per 30-gallon drum with no drum deposit.
I second.
Trustee Christina? Yes. Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esser?
Yes.
Whereas bids for powdered blend of inorganic phosphates for the water filtration plant were publicly opened and read on May 16, 2017, and whereas Chris Surma, Chief Operator of the water filtration plant, has reviewed the bids and has recommended awarding the bid to Slack Chemical Company Incorporated, 465 South Clinton Street, Carthage, New York. Now therefore be it resolved that Slack Chemical Company Incorporated is hereby awarded the bid for powdered blend of inorganic phosphates for the village fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017 and ending May 31st, 2018 at the bid price of $97.50 per 50-pound pails with no deposit.
I second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esser?
Yes.
Whereas bids for polycationic polymer for the water filtration plant were publicly opened and read on May 16, 2017. And whereas Chris Surma, Chief Operator of the water filtration plant, has reviewed the bids and has recommended awarding the bid to Applied Specialties Incorporated, 33555 Pin Oak Parkway, Avon Lake, Ohio. Now therefore be it resolved that Applied Specialties Inc. is hereby awarded the bid for polycationic polymer for the village fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017 and ending May 31st, 2018 at the bid price of $272.32 per 55-gallon drums with no drum deposit.
I second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esser?
Yes.
Be it resolved that the training request of Steve Manos to attend the New York State Code Enforcement Basic Training Program in Montour Falls, New York, June 13th through the 15th and June 27th through the 29th and July 11th through the 13th, 2017 at a cost not to exceed $408 is hereby approved.
Second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esser?
Yes.
Be it resolved that the training request of Police Chief Bradley Myers to attend the New York State Association of Chiefs of Police Training Conference in Syracuse, New York, July 23rd through the 26th, 2017 is hereby approved at a cost not to exceed $1,000.
Second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Esser?
Yes. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia desires to increase the sewer rental in the Village of Fredonia, and whereas proposed local law number 3, 2017 of the Village of Fredonia in its final form is now upon the desks of the members of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia, which proposes to increase the sewer rental rate per 1,000 gallons of water supplied to a premises from $5.17 to $6.17 per 1,000 gallons of water supplied. And whereas proof of publication in the Observer of the notice of public hearing on the question of enactment of said proposed local law has been presented to this board, and whereas a public hearing has been duly called and held before this board on the 22nd day of May 2017 to consider the question of the enactment of said proposed local law, and whereas after due deliberation this board seeks to enact said proposed local law, now therefore being enacted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia as follows. Section 1, the local law shall be entitled a local law amending Section 237-15D of the Code of the Village of Fredonia relative to sewer rentals. Section 2, Section 237-15D of the Code of the Village of Fredonia, last amended on May 23, 2016 by local law number 2 of 2016 is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 237-15D. For sewer services from and after June 1st, 2016, said sewer rental charges, also referred to as sewer charges, are fixed for customers within the Village of Fredonia at the following quarterly charge. A minimum charge of $20 plus $6.17 for each 1,000 gallons of water supplied as measured by water meters approved by the Village of Fredonia or by sewer meters approved by the Village of Fredonia. Note, sewer charges to the town of Pomfret and the town of Dunkirk Sewer District or other outside village customers shall be increased accordingly as provided by contracts with the Village of Fredonia and such outside sewer customers. Section 3. This local law shall take effect upon filing with the Secretary of State of New York. Now therefore be it resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to file this local law with the Secretary of State of the State of New York, and be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to cause notice of the enactment of this local law to be published in the Observer, and be it further resolved that said local law be renumbered local law number 2 of 2017 of the Village of Fredonia.
Second.
Upon roll call vote, the following votes will cast to wait. Trustee Rockman is absent. Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Essek?
Yes. Mayor, may I make a brief comment on my vote? I am voting to increase the water and sewer rates for the upcoming year because I would like to see the needed repairs to our infrastructure be made shortly to ensure all Fredonia residents have clean drinking water. This money will be used to address some water issues we have currently, instead of just residing on the budget line item year after year and going unaddressed. I would like to see a lot of progress be made, and a rate increase will assist us with the forward motion on our water issues.
Thank you, as we all. Thank you very much. So the local law will therefore declare duly adopted by 4-0 vote.
Whereas bids for synthetic flocculant for the wastewater treatment plant were publicly opened and read on May 16, 2017, and whereas Betsy Sly, Chief Operator of the wastewater treatment plant, has reviewed the bids and has recommended awarding the bid to SNF Polydyne 1 Chemical Plant Road, Riceboro, Georgia. Now therefore be it resolved that SNY Polydyne is hereby awarded the bid for synthetic flocculant at $1.37 per pound for the village fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017 and ending May 31st, 2018.
Second. Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Essek?
Yes. Whereas bids for ferric chloride for the wastewater treatment plant were publicly opened and read on May 16, 2017, and whereas Betsy Sly, Chief Operator of the wastewater treatment plant, has reviewed the bids and has recommended awarding the bid to Slack Chemical Company Incorporated, 465 South Clinton Street, Carthage, New York. Now therefore, be it resolved that Slack Chemical Company Incorporated is hereby awarded the bid for ferric chloride at a price of $540 per dry ton delivered for the village fiscal year commencing June 1, 2017 and ending May 31st, 2018.
Second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Essek?
Yes. Be it resolved that the following bids, being the lowest bid submitted for the village fuel, is hereby accepted for the prices set forth below for the village fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2017 and ending May 31st, 2018. TPS 1828 Route 20 Silver Creek is hereby awarded the bid for unleaded gasoline with dealer markup of .0223 cents per gallon plus the current refinery rack price on day of delivery, and low sulfur diesel with a dealer markup of $0.0223 plus the current refinery rack price on the day of delivery, and all weather diesel with a dealer markup of $0.0223 plus the current refinery rack price of the day delivery.
A second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Essek?
Yes.
Anything else? Do this. Okay. So, can you adjourn, please?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Essek?
Yes.
Thank you.